Time now for the business with Catherine Bennett. Hi, Catherine. Starting off in the United Kingdom and some slightly startling economic figures.
Absolutely. So the UK is in its largest economic slump on record. It's fallen more than twice the amount as it did during the 2009 financial crisis. So to put it into perspective, it's the worst collapse since 1709. And it's due, of course, to the double whammy of the COVID-19 pandemic and Brexit, which has dragged down household spending and business investment in the country. Now, this is while the UK is grappling with more COVID-19 deaths per million population than any other major economy, and the highest COVID-19 death toll in Europe. Luke Schrago has more on this story.
It's twice as deep as the largest annual fall on record, a drop of 9.9% in British GDP over the course of 2020, according to new figures, as the UK's finance minister scrambled to paint a rosier picture.
We calculate GDP in a different way to pretty much every other country, something that the Office for National Statistics and the Bank of England have pointed out. It's definitely in line to slightly better. And actually our employment performance, if you look at unemployment or the change in employment, is again better than most of our international peers.
However, the figures are stark whichever way you cut them. Data from the Bank of England indicates the worst economic contraction in over 300 years, with only the Great Depression coming close. It's mainly due to the coronavirus pandemic, which has seen non-essential businesses shuttered and the population go into repeated lockdowns, particularly with a more infectious variant on the rise in the UK. Despite a slight rebound in the fourth quarter, the nation's departure from the EU has also had a corrosive effect on the economy, leaving the country worse off than many other industrialised nations. Even as the government's furlough programme left it facing the highest amount of debt since World War II, it has prevented mass unemployment, with the Finance Ministry set to unveil new plans to protect jobs and help the economy next month.
In the US, economic inequality is getting worse. Americans as a whole are earning the same amount in wages as they did before the start of the coronavirus pandemic, even though in that time 8.9 million Americans lost their jobs. In February last year, people in the US earned $9.66 trillion in wages and salaries. And as the crisis deepened, that number dipped, but then recovered by December, where it had reached $9.67 trillion. Now, what does that tell us about the American economy? It shows that the people with more precarious jobs, shift work, part-time work and low-paying jobs, were the people who suffered the most during the pandemic. Of the 10 million jobs lost during the pandemic, almost half of them were in low-paying sectors like hospitality or entertainment. But that's barely made a dent in total labour income, showing that the wages of wealthier people have either been unchanged or have even risen during the crisis. Moving on to a dating app with a feminist slant, and it's turned its CEO into a billionaire. Bumble launched its IPO this week to great fanfare, and its market value soared to more than $13 billion. That turned boss Whitney Wolfe Herd into the world's youngest self-made female billionaire.
I want to thank the remarkable women who paved the way for Bumble in the public markets. By supporting and championing each other, we can break down barriers for the next generation of women and other marginalized communities. We cannot wait to cheer them on. Welcome to Bumble Inc. and thank you.
Out of 559 companies to go public in the past year, only 3, including Bumble, were founded by women. According to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index, self-made female billionaires account for less than 5% of the world's richest people, compared to self-made men who make up almost 2/3 of the biggest fortunes in the world. We were talking about inequality between salaries. Well, there's still a vast gender gap, even at the top of the global rich list. The world's 500 richest people made $1.8 trillion over the course of last year, but 91% of that sum went to men. Well, let's check in with Wall Street and see the latest in trading action this Friday. US stocks are still on track to end the week on a high note, but February's rally is dying down. The Dow Jones is down around 0.1%, while the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq have been boosted above the flat line. In Europe, stocks ended the week higher, seemingly unwavered by the negative data in the UK. The FTSE closed up 1%, the CAC 40 was up just over 0.5%, and the DAX finished just over the flat line. This is the second Chinese New Year in a row that will be muted due to the coronavirus pandemic, with the travel sector due to miss out the most. Meanwhile, other businesses are trying to think up innovative ways of hosting New Year celebrations. Kimi Nedlek has the story.
This is what family gatherings look like in 2021. This hot pot restaurant in Beijing offers private rooms with a video link so that people can celebrate Chinese New Year at a safe distance from each other. The Chinese Transport Ministry estimates that trips during the festive season will fall 60% as compared to 2019 levels.
有点思念，就是还是比较想家的，但是另外一方面也是以大局为重嘛，这个也是可以理解的，所以还是决定就是最终还是不回去了。
This time last year, when the coronavirus pandemic first curved festivities, China's retail sales plummeted by over 20%. 2021 celebrations are expected to be better than that, but still won't have recovered to pre-pandemic levels. As many employees forego their travel plans, factories are expected to remain open, keeping the world's manufacturing engine revving. Many communities around the world also celebrate, but this year it all depends on their infection rates. In the UK, which is in the middle of a strict lockdown, Chinatown is empty and businesses look set to miss out.
Normally the Chinese New Year is our busiest day of the year, so it will be completely different. It will be the first time in business in London that we've not been open for the Chinese New Year.
But Australia, which has far lower case numbers, is going ahead with festivities. And this local restaurant says it's done a roaring trade. Sydney hosts the biggest New Year celebrations outside of Asia.
Ending with a story from France, where a small town in the Loire-et-Cher department has sold its name to the world's largest luxury goods group. Vendôme, a town with a population of only 17,000, has sold the use of the word Vendôme to LVMH for the price of €10,000. The name will be used for an LVMH jewellery line. The mayor of the town has defended the decision, saying that it attracts business investment. However, some of the residents think the town has been shortchanged.
10 000 euros, c'est même pas le prix d'une voiture. La première société valorisée en bourse, maintenant, c'est qui hein? C'est LVMH.
Bon, 10 000 euros, ça paraît dérisoire.
I like the first woman there saying €10,000 is not even the price
Yeah,
of
they
a car.
could have gone a little bit higher, but
They could have gone
who
higher,
am
I
I to
think.
judge? Catherine Bennett, thank you very much.